Hey Psych2Goers, have you ever found yourself lying awake at 3 in the morning, your mind racing with worries that seem so much bigger in the darkness? Or maybe you've experienced that sinking feeling in your chest as the sun goes down, knowing another difficult night is ahead. If you've dealt with nighttime anxiety, you know it's completely different from daytime stress. It's like the moment the world goes quiet, your mind decides to turn up the volume on every fear, worry, and doubt you've ever had. Nighttime anxiety isn't just about having trouble sleeping. It's a specific form of anxiety that intensifies when darkness falls, affecting millions of people who dread the evening hours, while their friends and family peacefully drift off to sleep. So what exactly is nighttime anxiety, and why does it feel so overwhelming? To help you understand this often misunderstood condition, and to show those suffering that they're not alone, here's what nighttime anxiety really feels like on a daily basis. Number 1, the dreaded evening countdown. Have you ever noticed how time seems to move differently when you're anticipating something stressful? For people with nighttime anxiety, the entire day can feel like a countdown to bedtime, while most people look forward to relaxing in the evening. Those with nighttime anxiety start feeling their chest tighten. As the sun begins to set, they might find themselves checking the clock, repeatedly feeling their heart rate increase with each passing hour that brings them closer to bedtime. It's like knowing you have to give a presentation in front of hundreds of people, except this presentation happens every single night, and there's no way to cancel it. You can think of it as carrying an invisible timer that counts down to your nightly struggle. The anticipation alone can be exhausting, making it hard to enjoy evening activities with family or friends, because in the back of your mind, you know what's coming. This constant state of anticipatory anxiety means that even the good parts of your day are shadowed by the knowledge that night will eventually arrive, and with it all the fears and worries that seem to wait patiently for darkness. Number 2, your mind becomes a movie theater of worst-case scenarios. Do you ever replay embarrassing moments from your past over and over in your head? Now imagine that, but with every mistake, regret, fear, and worry you've ever had, all playing simultaneously. The moment your head hits the pillow, nighttime anxiety turns your mind into a relentless screening room of catastrophic thoughts. That conversation you had 3 days ago suddenly becomes evidence that everyone hates you. That small mistake at work transforms into certainty that you'll be fired tomorrow. That slight pain in your side must be a serious illness, and you convince yourself something terrible is going to happen to your loved ones. These aren't just passing thoughts, they're vivid, consuming scenarios that feel incredibly real in the moment. What makes nighttime different from daytime worrying is the intensity and the lack of distraction. During the day, you can redirect your thoughts by staying busy. But at night, when the world is quiet and dark, there's nothing to stop your mind from spiraling deeper and deeper into these anxious thoughts. You might logically know these fears are irrational, but logic doesn't seem to work at 2 in the morning when your heart is pounding and your mind is convinced that every worst-case scenario is about to come true. It's like being trapped in a horror movie where you're both the audience and the main character, unable to look away or escape. Number 3, the physical symptoms that make everything worse. Have you ever felt your heart racing before a big test or presentation? People with nighttime anxiety experience these physical symptoms every single night, often more intensely than any daytime anxiety. They might feel their heart pounding so hard they're convinced something is wrong with it. Their chest might feel tight, making it difficult to take deep breaths. They could experience sweating, trembling, or feeling unusually hot or cold. Their stomach might churn with nausea, and their muscles could be so tense that their whole body aches. What's particularly challenging about these physical symptoms is that they often create a vicious cycle. You lie down to sleep, your anxiety triggers physical symptoms. Those symptoms make you more anxious because now you're worried about why your body feels this way, which creates even more physical symptoms, and round it goes. Some people describe it as feeling like they're having a heart attack or can't breathe properly, which understandably makes the anxiety even worse. Imagine trying to relax and fall asleep while your body is in full fight or flight mode. It's like trying to take a peaceful nap. While riding a roller coaster, your body is sending every signal that you're in danger even though you're safe in your own bed. These physical sensations can be so intense that many people with nighttime anxiety end up in emergency rooms convinced something is seriously wrong medically, only to be told it's anxiety, which, while relieving in the moment, doesn't make the next night any easier. Number 4, the loneliness. Suffering while the world sleeps. Do you ever feel isolated when you're going through something others don't understand? Nighttime anxiety comes with a unique kind of loneliness that's hard to describe. You're lying there in the dark knowing that most people around you are sleeping peacefully, while you're trapped in your own mind battling fears that feel overwhelming. You might hear your partner breathing softly beside you, completely unaware of the storm happening in your head. Or you might be alone in your room, feeling like you're the only person in the world who's awake, and suffering. This isolation can make the anxiety worse, because you feel like nobody understands what you're going through. You might think there's something uniquely broken about you, that everyone else can just close their eyes and drift off while you're stuck in this nightly torture. It's like being on a deserted island. While everyone else is at a party, you can see that life is happening normally for others, but you're completely cut off from that normalcy. Many people with nighttime anxiety report feeling embarrassed or ashamed about their struggles. They worry that if they reach out for help in the middle of the night, they'll be seen as dramatic or attention-seeking, so they suffer in silence, which only reinforces the feeling of being alone. You might want to wake someone up just to have company or reassurance, but you don't want to burden them with your problems. This creates a painful paradox where you desperately need support, but feel like you can't ask for it, making the dark hours feel even longer and more isolating. Number 5, time becomes your enemy. Have you ever noticed how 5 minutes can feel like an hour when you're bored or anxious? For people with nighttime anxiety, time moves in strange and torturous ways. You might look at the clock and see it's 11 p.m., then what feels like hours later you check again, and it's only 11:15. The night stretches out endlessly before you, and you start calculating how many hours of sleep you could get if you fell asleep right now, which of course makes falling asleep even harder. This hyper-awareness of time passing creates its own form of anxiety. You might find yourself making deals with yourself like, if I fall asleep in the next 10 minutes, I can still get 6 hours, or watching the minutes tick by while your anxiety builds about how exhausted you'll be tomorrow. Every hour that passes without sleep feels like a failure, and you might start panicking about how you'll function the next day on no sleep. It's like being in a race against time that you can't win. The more you focus on needing to sleep, the more elusive sleep becomes. Some people describe checking the clock dozens of times throughout the night, each time feeling more desperate and defeated. What makes this especially cruel is that this time anxiety often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're so worried about not sleeping that the worry itself keeps you awake. Then the next night you're even more anxious because you remember how little sleep you got the night before, creating another cycle that's hard to break. The clock becomes an enemy, constant reminder of your struggle rather than just a neutral object measuring time. Number 6, the exhaustion that never ends. Do you remember a time when you were so tired you could barely keep your eyes open? Now imagine feeling that way all the time, but still being unable to sleep. When night comes, people with nighttime anxiety often experience a bone-deep exhaustion that affects every aspect of their lives. They're tired from the lack of sleep, tired from the constant state of anxiety, and tired from the effort it takes to function normally during the day while battling this nightly struggle. This isn't the kind of tiredness that a good night's sleep would fix, because the problem is they can't get that good night's sleep. It's a chronic, persistent exhaustion that colors everything they do. You might find yourself forgetting things, struggling to concentrate, feeling irritable and short-tempered, or having difficulty making even simple decisions. Your body feels heavy, your eyes burn, and you might even feel physically ill from lack of rest. Yet, when night comes again, your mind refuses to shut down despite your body's desperate need for sleep. It's like being simultaneously wired and exhausted, running on empty, but unable to refuel. Imagine trying to live your normal life, go to work or school, maintain relationships, take care of responsibilities, all while feeling like you've been awake for days, because essentially, you have the quality of sleep you do get is often poor, filled with anxiety, dreams, or frequent waking. So even if you manage a few hours, it's not the restorative sleep your body needs. This chronic exhaustion can lead to other health problems, both mental and physical, creating yet another layer of worry for your anxious mind to fixate on at night. Number 7, the desperate search for solutions. Have you ever tried everything you could think of to solve a problem, but nothing worked? People with nighttime anxiety often become experts in sleep hygiene, relaxation techniques, and anxiety management strategies because they're desperately searching for anything that might help. They might try meditation apps, breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, sleep supplements, melatonin, chamomile tea, weighted blankets, white noise machines, keeping their room cool, avoiding screens before bed, establishing bedtime routines, and countless other recommendations. The frustrating part is that sometimes these things help a little, but rarely do they solve the problem completely. You might find something that works for a few nights and feel hopeful that you've finally cracked the code, only to have the anxiety return just as intensely as before. It's like trying to hold back the ocean with your hands. You can make a small difference, But ultimately, you're fighting against something much more powerful than any single technique can address. This constant trial and error can be emotionally draining. Every failed attempt feels like another disappointment, and you might start losing hope that anything will ever truly help. You could spend hours researching solutions, reading articles, watching videos, joining support groups, trying to find that one magic answer that will fix everything. Meanwhile, the anxiety about your anxiety grows because now you're worried that you'll never find relief and you'll be stuck in this pattern forever. Some people become so focused on fixing their nighttime anxiety that the search for solutions becomes another source of stress. They might feel pressure to try every suggestion people offer and then feel guilty or frustrated when those suggestions don't work as promised. Number 8, the impact on your daytime life. Do you ever have a bad morning that affects your entire day? Nighttime anxiety doesn't stay confined to the nighttime hours. It bleeds into every aspect of your daily life, affecting your work, relationships, physical health, and overall quality of life. You might find yourself declining social invitations because you're too exhausted or because events run late and you want to protect your evening routine. You could be less productive at work or school because your sleep-deprived brain can't focus properly. Your relationships might suffer because you're irritable from exhaustion or because you're withdrawing from others who don't understand what you're going through. People with nighttime anxiety often describe feeling like they're living half a life. They're too tired to fully engage during the day and too anxious to rest at night. It's like being stuck in limbo, never quite present or at peace anywhere. You might cancel plans at the last minute because the thought of staying out late triggers anticipatory anxiety about your bedtime routine, or you might push through activities while feeling completely disconnected and exhausted, just going through the motions. The physical health consequences can be significant too. Chronic sleep deprivation and anxiety can weaken your immune system, increase your risk for various health conditions, affect your weight and appetite, and accelerate aging. You might notice you get sick more often, or that you just generally feel unwell most of the time. Your mental health can deteriorate as well with nighttime anxiety, often coexisting with depression, general anxiety disorder, or other conditions. It's like trying to build a life on a foundation that's constantly crumbling. The exhaustion and anxiety undermine everything you're trying to accomplish, making it hard to pursue goals, maintain habits, or work toward the future you want. Some people describe feeling like they're watching their life pass by, unable to fully participate because they're always either recovering from a bad night or dreading the next one. Number 9, the guilt. Self-blame. Have you ever felt like your problems were your own fault, even when they weren't? People with nighttime anxiety often carry a heavy burden of guilt and self-blame. They might think they should be able to just relax, or that they're weak for not being able to control their thoughts. They compare themselves to others who seem to sleep effortlessly and wonder what's wrong with them, that they can't do this basic human function. This guilt is often reinforced by well-meaning but unhelpful advice from others who don't understand the condition. People might tell you to just stop worrying, or have you tried just not thinking about it? As if you hadn't thought of that yourself. These comments, while usually not intended to hurt, can make you feel even more defective and alone, like there's some simple solution everyone else knows about that you're just too incompetent to figure out. You might blame yourself for the impact your nighttime anxiety has on your life and relationships, feeling guilty that you're not the partner, friend, employee, family member you want to be. This self-blame can become another source of anxiety, adding to the thoughts that keep you awake at night. It's like carrying a backpack full of rocks that you've placed there yourself, even though you don't deserve that burden and wouldn't choose to carry it if you had a real choice. Some people with nighttime anxiety internalize messages that they're being dramatic or attention-seeking, especially if they've sought help multiple times, or if their anxiety manifests in ways that affect others, like needing reassurance or avoiding certain situations. They might feel ashamed of their struggle and try to hide it, which only increases the isolation and makes the problem worse. The truth is, nighttime anxiety is a real condition, not a character flaw or personal failing. But convincing yourself of that when you're lying awake at 3 in the morning feeling like you're the only person in the world with this problem is incredibly difficult. Number 10, the fear of it never ending. Do you ever worry that a difficult situation will last forever? One of the most painful aspects of nighttime anxiety is the fear that this is just how life will always be after weeks, months, or even years of struggling night after night. It's natural to start losing hope that things will ever improve. You might imagine yourself at 40, 50, 60 still lying awake every night, still trapped in this cycle of anxiety and exhaustion. This fear of permanence can be paralyzing. It affects your decisions about the future, making you wonder if you should pursue certain careers, relationships, or life goals. When you're constantly battling this invisible burden, you might avoid making long-term plans because you can't imagine feeling this way forever. But you also can't imagine it ever changing. It's like being stuck in a tunnel with no visible end, unsure whether to keep moving forward or just give up. The hopelessness that can accompany chronic nighttime anxiety is particularly dangerous because it can lead to depression and, in severe cases, thoughts of self-harm. When you're exhausted, anxious, and convinced that nothing will ever get better, it's hard to find reasons to keep fighting. Some people describe feeling like they're just surviving rather than living, going through the motions of daily life, while internally feeling empty and defeated. However, it's crucial to understand that nighttime anxiety is treatable, and many people do find relief through various combinations of therapy, medication, lifestyle changes, and support. What feels permanent in the darkness of a sleepless night is not necessarily your forever reality, but reaching out for help when you're in that dark place takes courage, especially when you've maybe tried before and didn't get the support you needed. The fear of trying again and failing again can be almost as paralyzing as the anxiety itself. So if you're reading this and recognizing yourself in these descriptions, please know that you're not alone. Millions of people struggle with nighttime anxiety, and there is hope for improvement. It might not be a quick fix or an easy journey, but your struggle is valid, your pain is real, and you deserve support and compassion, both from others and from yourself. Nighttime anxiety is not a weakness or a character flaw. It's a challenging condition that requires understanding, patience, and often professional help to overcome. So did our description help you better understand what nighttime anxiety feels like, whether you experience it yourself or you're trying to understand someone who does? If you haven't yet shared your story, we encourage you to either one, comment below to help someone else who's going through the same struggle, or two, share this video with someone who might need to know they're not alone in their midnight battles. Remember that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness, and there are people who understand and want to support you. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourself, especially during those difficult nighttime hours. And remember that even the darkest night eventually gives way to morning. We'll see you soon.